Ready for 5G? Let's talk about the Moto Z3. Lenovo's X1 Carbon has an amazingly bright monitor. iPhone without iTunes and CEDIA Expo had all the pretty pixels and some epic audio. We got highlights all coming up on TekThing. TekThing is brought to you by patrons like Steve, Brent M, Jeff M, and Brick. Without your support via patreon.com/TekThing, we wouldn't be able to make the show for you each and every week. If you enjoy TekThing and the show makes your life easier, do us a favor, become a patron. Patreon.com/TekThing is the place to go to support the show.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every single show.
The question today, ladies and gentlemen, is that phone
this one
ready for 5G, which isn't here yet? It looks like a Moto Z3.
It is a Moto Z3, yes. Okay. Yes, it is. It's so exciting. So the Moto Z3, this is what I'm reviewing today. It is a Verizon-only premium phone by Motorola, which just launched 3 weeks ago on August 16th. So yay, we got a new phone in. It is a quality piece of hardware for a great price, but I'm just gonna hold the price until the end after I tell you everything about this phone, because it's kind of interesting.
That either means it's an incredible deal or eye-wateringly expensive.
Exactly.
I'm thinking. So this is going to be the first phone that works with Verizon's 5G implementation.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird because it actually requires these things called Moto Mods to be able to work with it. This is kind of neat or not, depending on who you are. It's this thing with these Moto Z lines of phones that allow you to customize the phone with additional features. So I should probably explain what a Moto Mod is.
It's a Lego that snaps on the back. There's a JBL speaker that's awesome. There's a Hasselblad camera that sucks, which sucks because it's a Hasselblad camera, which shouldn't suck.
It's kind of interesting.
There's going to be a 5G back for this?
Yes, there will. This is the 5G one. You can't purchase it quite yet, obviously, because 5G is not currently available, but it will be available in the near future. So probably in the next year or so, we'll see that available. But this will also add in an additional battery, and it will allow you to use the 5G Verizon network once that is available. And this will be the first phone that allows you to do so. So the interesting thing with these Moto Mods is they connect to these contacts that are on the back with different kinds of cases that feature all those different things. You could collect them all if you want to. You can buy them all separately. Or like my husband does with his Moto Z2, you could just buy the one that has a battery and just stick it on your phone constantly and then never remove it. It's kind of nice because it covers up those contacts permanently if you just buy one and stick it on there forever. However, if you don't buy any of them, those contacts are always open. They're always exposed, which kind of worries me too.
Here, let's see if we can short the phone out.
No, don't do that. Please don't do that. I have to send this back eventually.
Well, it is splash resistant, right?
It is splash resistant. It is super thin. It is a very, very pretty phone, and luckily it is splash resistant at a rating of P2i. The Z3 also has a really nice big screen on the front. It's 6 inches. It's an AMOLED display, which is great. I really like the AMOLED displays on Android phones, and it's full HD plus too. It's 2160 by 1080p, and it's that 18:9 aspect ratio, which we have been seeing as the trend now, which I know you like to say is 2:1. Basically is.
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah, it's long.
It's great if you have like basketball player hands.
You'll notice that it's really nice too. It's nice polished. It has glass on the rear and the front. It does have an aluminum frame around the edges too, and it's nice and curved. It does pick up a lot of fingerprints too. So I get fingerprints all over this thing constantly, especially on the back. Of course, I don't have a case on there, no Moto Mods, so there's going to be a lot of fingerprints on there. As for the specs on the inside of this little baby, it includes Android 8.1 Oreo. It has not been upgraded yet to 9P, with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 CPU and an 850 MHz Adreno 540 GPU. There's
not like the latest flagship specs, but flagshipy specs.
Flagshipy, yeah. They definitely, you can see how responsive it is. It's very quick, it's very versatile, and this is after downloading a bunch of my normal applications too. It does have 4 gigs of RAM too and 64 gigs of storage, and that's the only option, but you can also add up to 2 terabytes with a microSD card as well, and the microSD card is found at the top along with the SIM card too. So there is one speaker on the front, and to be honest, it's tinny. It's kind of unimpressive, so I wasn't too wowed by it. I really like the dual speakers on the front of my Pixel, but of course the Pixel's twice that cost. It also includes a fingerprint reader, and there's Face Unlock too, which is really, really cool. The Face Unlock I found is very responsive and it's very fast, but it also requires you to hit the power button to unlock after your face is recognized. So you pick up the phone, it recognizes your face, and then you hit the power button to actually unlock the thing, which is kind of, in a way, I feel like is arbitrary and defeating the purpose. Yeah, because it's supposed to be fast, and it just doesn't feel fast when you're doing that. Weirdly, the fingerprint reader, and check this out, it's on the side. Isn't that weird?
I like that.
It's on the side.
Because the whole reaching around to the center of the back, I just find unnatural.
I found, since I always hold my phone like this, it's so natural to me to hit it right there too. But here's the thing that I thought about, and this is because I'm left-handed. If you always use your phone like this, you're gonna have to choose this phone or this finger instead, or your pointer finger, because it's not going to make much sense to use your thumb.
Okay.
So, little thing to think about there. The battery is a 3,000 milliampere hour battery. It's non-removable, but you can increase the battery with one of those Moto Mod cases on the back again. So definitely consider that. Of course, that is an additional $50. There's no wireless charging built in, but you can get a Moto Mod that allows you to do that too, so it's an available option. And to charge it, you can use USB-C port on the bottom, and no, there is no headphone jack, but props to Motorola for including an adapter in the box. I do appreciate that. There is a 15-watt turbo power charger. It's this little USB charger / AC adapter that they give you in the box too, which gives it 12 hours of life within half an hour of charging.
Nice.
So that's awesome. And I did try that at home, and it got to 56% like half an hour after I plugged it in. So I was very impressed with that. It totally worked. It was great. And it also has a built-in battery that will last you about 24 hours with that 3,000 milliampere hour. Now, the operating system has some telling signs that it's not vanilla Android. Go figure. Verizon comes with a slew of unnecessary apps. There's like Bank of America on here. I don't use Bank of America. There's Facebook, security and privacy, which we all know that Android security and privacy applications don't necessarily always work. There's Walmart, there's Yahoo Mail, there's Yelp. So if you don't use those, luckily you can uninstall most of those. You can't get rid of the security and privacy one, and it does notify me every now and again saying, hey, do you want to install this? And I'm like, no, I really don't want to set that up because I don't care. There's also all these different gestures that you can use. For example, there's home button gestures that can be enabled to quickly navigate to the assistant. You can hold down to get to your assistant like that, which is really cool. You can also swipe back or swipe forward to get to your most recent apps or go back in an application. It was really easy for me to get used to those. One that I thought was really ridiculous is this one. To turn on the flashlight. So my husband does this at home because the Moto Z2 does that too. And every time he does it, I think he's going to throw the phone across the room.
It's a Motorola thing.
It's really weird.
I actually turned them off because the last I break screens often enough. I just saw myself going like, yeah, I'm turning my flashlight and throwing my phone across. I worry about
that. You can do 3 fingers to screenshot, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I like that one too because it's a lot faster than what I have to do on my Pixel. So I really like that. You can also twist to turn on the camera, which is also pretty interesting. However, I find that I'm never going to use that one because it's easier for me to just click into the camera app.
Click twice.
Yeah.
You don't want to...
Yeah, not really.
Do the doorknob.
I wonder if click twice would work too. Yeah. Yeah. So you can totally do that too.
How is the camera?
The camera. Let's talk about the camera. So lastly, we have the camera. The front is an 8 megapixel camera with an f2.0 aperture lens that can do up to 1080p 30 FPS video. You can also do active photos, which are basically the same thing as the iPhone live photos, I think it's called, where they continue to give you some movement after you take the picture or around the picture. You can also do slow-mo videos, and there's time-lapse and recording straight to YouTube Live, which I actually thought was a really cool feature. And there's face filters too, and I have some examples on the screen of those. Now for photo modes, you can do a portrait mode, which gives you that blurry background look, and it's decent. There's also cinematograph, which is an animated GIF. There's a group selfie, which is basically a panorama photo, and you do have to take multiple photos to be able to do that. And there's face filters too. Now there's also a beauty mode to get rid of yo zits because, you know, this girl definitely needs that. And one of my favorite features is manual mode, which lets you change the white balance, the ISO, shutter speed, and aperture, which is one of my favorite things in the world. I love it when phones give me a manual option. It's wonderful. Thank you. Shutter speed, it's amazing. I also like the front camera. Overall, it worked as expected. I like the additional capabilities, so I was pretty thrilled with the front camera. Now the rear camera has a dual camera setup, as you can see right here. There is a 12 megapixel f2.0 and a 12 megapixel monochrome lens on there, so there's one of each, which we have seen before in recent phones. Now this allows for autofocus, dual LED flash, and accurate whites and blacks in your photos, whether you do black and white photos or color photography. You do get a lot of the same features in this camera as well as that front camera, so you will see a lot of the same features like the filters and everything. It can also do 1080p at 60 FPS or 4K at 30, so you do get a slight upgrade there. It can do black and white videos and photos. You can use a text scanner, which I found was fairly accurate. There's a cutout option, which allows you to cut out the background, which did not work that great. Here's a photo as an example. And there's spot color, which was decent and allowed me to change its accuracy quite a bit on a little scale up and down. So I was able to get this very yellow crescent moon on my little phone holder at my desk. Now Google Lens is also built in, which will use object recognition to Google more information, and the rear camera left much to be desired in my opinion. Portrait mode was lackluster compared to my Pixel 2 XL, which again, yes, is twice the cost, and it seemed to overcompensate darker areas of a picture by brightening them almost too much. So a lot of times it seemed very blown out. Now for video, the Pixel definitely has better image stabilization, as the stabilization on the Z3, it appeared kind of jumpy or jittery, and this is when I was recording both of those phones at the same exact time. So they should have been pretty accurate together, but of course there is a big price comparison there.
I feel like I know what this phone costs.
Yeah, now you know.
That it's half the cost of the Pixel 2.
It's surprisingly inexpensive for this phone, in my opinion. It's only $480. It's pretty good. But of course, if you want some of those premium features like a better speaker, more battery, wireless charging, you gotta cough up more additional money for what equates to another dongle or case on the back that you have to switch back and forth depending on what feature that you want. So this phone is all about customizations while keeping costs down for features that not everybody wants or needs. If you don't want wireless, you don't have to pay for wireless because it's a feature add-on as opposed to something that's just built in. Yeah, wireless charging.
Because a phone without wireless connectivity is a brick.
Yeah, if you don't want to upgrade to 5G, you won't have to because it's going to be an additional cost for that additional Moto Mod.
Now, you actually, you mentioned him earlier, you have someone who is deeply into the whole Moto Mod environment.
I do, my husband. Yeah, that's the thing. It's very unique and it has a market. I know because my husband is in that market. He loves having those additional features and not having to buy them all. But I prefer having all of those premium features just built in, even if I don't end up using all of them, because then I know I don't have to carry around additional dongles or additional cases or Moto Mods or whatever you want to call them, and I can just have everything built into one device, all on its own. So that's just my opinion, of course. My husband loves these phones, and I think other people would love them too because it's a good phone. It's very, very good. I'm just not the person that loves it.
But you're also willing to spend twice as much for sort of a full premium high-end flagship.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Any idea what the Moto 5G mod is going to cost for that phone?
Not yet. No price available at this moment in time, but I'll keep an updated look on that to see if they update the prices.
So if you're obsessing over 5G,
then this would be the phone for you.
Need a phone now.
Yeah.
Okay.
This would be the phone for you because it's going to be ready and it's going to be the first one available with 5G on Verizon.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Let me know what you think of the Z3. I really enjoyed messing with this, and it's so unique in itself. I thought it was really cool to play with. And I would love to know your take on using Moto Mods. So email me, ask@TekThing.com, or you can tweet me @Snubs.
Giant micro SD cards. This is the biggest one I knew of until this morning.
Whoa.
This is a 400 gigabyte SanDisk Ultra. Sells for $151 on Prime. Should you need all of the storage in your device?
What?
And remember, microSD cards. The controller is in the device.
Yes.
So your phone, the Z3, is ready for a 2 terabyte card. So it'll do smaller cards. But say like the G6 I have is good for, I think, 128 gigabytes. You can try putting a larger card in there, but it probably won't read it because science.
Yeah.
Or engineering. And then I saw this one, which is officially the biggest one. As of this morning, I've seen a 512 gigabytes from PNY for a hefty $350. So
dang.
If you need all of the storage,
you have options.
You have options.
That 400 gig one, though, that's
tempting.
Yeah. It is tempting.
That's a lot of songs for when you're flying across the country, or a lot of freaking Netflix.
It's a lot of
video.
GoPro videos.
That too. Oh my goodness.
Well, we got an email from David. David emailed, "Hey Shannon and Patrick, I'd love to see you guys do an in-depth review of the Lenovo X1 Carbon laptop. Specifically, I would be curious to see what you think of the device from a road warrior and web developer point of view. Is the HDR 1440p screen without touch better for productivity than the matte 1080p screen? How loud are the fans under moderate load? Am I going to be that guy in the conference whose laptop sounds like he bought in a portable jet engine? Finally, is now a smart time to buy a laptop? I know Intel is going to be announcing 9th generation i7 processors in October. Assuming this new generation of processors deals with issues like Spectre and Meltdown at the hardware level, would waiting for the next generation of laptops be more prudent? Thanks for doing everything you guys do. Loyal fan and patron, David." Thank you, David, and thank you for being a patron. We love you.
Thank you so much. Patreon.com/TekThing.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
Oh.
titanium ring versus laptop. Laptop survives. Sorry, Lenovo. No. I'm okay with buying a laptop right now. And frankly, except for HP, it's going to be probably CES before any new laptops are announced.
Good point.
A ton of new models arrived from Dell and Lenovo and several other companies at IFA in Germany a couple weeks ago. As far as Spectre and Meltdown go, Spectre Variant 2 and Meltdown Variant 3 should be stopped in hardware in the 8th generation processors, like the one in this Carbon I'm holding right here, X1 Carbon. Spectre Variant 1 still requires software patches as far as I know, so hey, keep your system up to date. That's what auto update in Windows is for. I'm just saying. So this is the Carbon X1, and I think the best part about the 2018 Carbon X1 is when you bump a laptop from a 7th gen dual-core Intel CPU to an 8th gen quad-core, you get a big fat bump in performance. Well, at least for multi-core stuff, like 30% probably, because twice as many cores, or maybe more than 30%. And if you choose the optional 14-inch HDR screen, which you were talking about, sir, this is one of the brightest laptops I have ever used anywhere, anyplace, anytime. The processor bump didn't increase the weight or size. The X1 Carbon is still 2.5 pounds, half a pound less than the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and it's the same 12.7 by 8.5 by 0.6 inches as last year's model. I was laughing because some of the reviews were like, it's not smaller than last year. And
it's
I'm
like a feather.
It's the right size. You know what happens when you make phones smaller? They bend when you put them in your pocket.
That's actually a really good size for editing, just saying.
It is a really good size for editing. I haven't used the ThinkPad in a while. I've been carrying Dell XPS 13s, and while the XPS has an excellent keyboard and I have typed billions of words on it, ThinkPad still, I'm going to pet this.
They do some of the best keyboards.
Yeah, they kind of define what a laptop keyboard can be at its finest. It is as good as touch typing gets on a laptop. One glitch for me of the function and control keys are reversed from what I'm used to.
Oh, you're right.
That has been a learning curve, but it's manageable. And if you are, it's the kind of thing, when you switch to a new laptop, keys are in different places. It usually takes 2 or 3 weeks to kind of get used to that.
Yep.
The trackpad still has discrete buttons above it, and of course there is the legendary pointing stick of ThinkPad fame. I don't particularly use those, but if you are a ThinkPad user, it's still there. What's kind of slick about the match in sensor fingerprint reader, not only is it conveniently located somewhere other than an odd spot on the laptop, but to make life harder for hackers, one chip does the storage and analysis of your fingerprints. So that makes it a little bit harder for them. And while we're stopping hacking, the webcam has the Think shutter, which is really takes some work to turn on or turn off.
That thing's tough.
Yes, but it's not going to accidentally come unstuck.
Yeah,
So,
and it's physical, which is really cool.
And if somebody's like, oh, I accidentally slid it open, they're lying because it takes some significant effort to open the thing, or in my case, close the thing. To fit that webcam, which is at the top of the screen, right here, the bezels around the screen are not so tiny, and I don't really care. I like missing bezels. I like webcams on the top. So the 14-inch screen is available with that optional high dynamic range Dolby Vision 2560 by 1440 panel. That's Thor Ragnarok. Hopefully we don't get taken down. Or the standard 1080p touch panel, which isn't glossy, which I love. This is very glossy, but it's so bright.
It's very shiny.
It's very shiny. So lighting on here is kind of reflective. I wish it had the non-glossy surface. But oh my goodness, colors are solid on both panels, but the HDR option kind of takes it to another level. Much larger color gamut, great for getting your Photoshop on, particularly nice for watching video, whether you have HDR streaming services or not.
Yep.
The speakers are okay. I'll pretty much use my headphones, but it does include a set of 360-degree far-field mics, so if you want to talk to Cortana from across the room, or when the update finally rolls out, use Alexa for PC, you are good to go. And it's the kind of thing where you can sort of talk at it even though the lid is down, which always freaks me out. Colors aside, the optional HDR display really is stupid. Let's go sit outside in August in the sun bright. It's rated at 500 nits. I've seen measurements putting it around 470. That's like twice as bright as a typical laptop display. So if you find yourself sitting in places, whether it's in your truck or at a cafe or at an office,
wherever you might be.
Yeah, it's bright enough to deal with it.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, rated for 15 hours of battery life, which is a little aggressive. You're looking at like 10 plus hours of battery life, maybe 11 for the 1080p model.
That's still awesome.
It's really good.
Yeah.
10 plus hours is solid. And really, really fast charging. Lenovo claims if you use the USB-C adapter that came in the box, you're going to go from 0 to 80% battery charge in an hour.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. So if you can find a plug during a layover, you got another like 8 hours.
That's epic.
Yeah. You know what else is epic?
What?
It's got ports.
Oh. Hallelujah.
Yeah. So speaking of USB-C, it's got Thunderbolt 3, a pair of USB 3.1
full
ports.
HDMI.
Yes. A headphone, headset jack, microSD card reader, and the Ethernet extension connector, which is this crazy thing right over here. That basically gives you Ethernet options with an optional dongle.
Interesting.
Bluetooth 4.1, 2x2 AC Wi-Fi, and 4G LTE is available as an option on some models. If you need all of the memory because you're a developer or a video editor, you will be disappointed. It's 16 gig max. I love this keyboard. I love this screen. I wish the HDR screen had the same non-glare, not shiny look as the standard FD. Yeah, I actually do use the flat mode.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, I've only been playing with this for about a week, but I've still done this at least 3 or 4 different times when I was like holding it up to somebody and talking about something. The entry level for this is $1,367.10 with a 4-core, 8-thread i5, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabyte SSD, and the non-glare 1080p Full HD screen, which is a pretty good deal. The 16 gigabyte Core i7 unit with this 500 nit HDR screen and a 1 terabyte SSD is going to bring all the way up to $2,237.44. So not the cheapest laptops, but these are also, you know, they have some features for enterprise management that you're not going to find on consumer laptops, and you know, they feel really, really good in hand. So I mentioned that because our model, super solid in testing, and it's not like I'm like the gentle flower. The X1 Carbon's built in carbon fiber and magnesium. Laptop Mag, though, notes as of July, quote, we have become aware of some quality control issues that consumers may experience. We personally found keyboard and or screen issues on 3 different purchased units. So they still recommend the X1 Carbon, but it sounds like you might want to open up the box and check it out thoroughly and start using it before the return window is open.
Good to know.
So I gotta say, if you're thinking about buying a laptop, I would put this on the list. Man, that screen is gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, the XPS line, the X1 Carbons, they've always been some of my favorites, even from long before I was doing TekThing. They've always been gorgeous, gorgeous machines. And I've never gotten to own one in my lifetime. I'm sorry, I just kissed it.
There's lipstick on my laptop. But I'm divorced next week. Oh my goodness. I'm going to go lick one of your gaming laptops.
Oh, I haven't seen this movie yet. You need to take it away. I'm just gonna spoil it for me.
Everybody dies at the end.
No, don't tell me
that's
that.
the other movie.
No, that's Game of Thrones.
No, not everybody's dead yet. In any case, if you're thinking about a new PC, email ask@tektthing.com. Laptops, desktops. She loves the gaming laptops.
I do.
Let us know. But I just said it. Ask@tektthing.com. We're listening. Email us soon. We're lonely.
Shh.
Got a question? Curious to see us review something? Got a tip or an idea? We were just telling you, fire them out to ask@tektthing.com, please. Or you can tweet @TekThing, @Snubs, or @Patrick Norton. And hey, if you want to be part of the crew that makes TekThing possible, please contribute to the show at patreon.com/TekThing. Thank you for your support. New iPhones being announced this week.
Yay!
We think. Well, I would say the Inquirer is the first place I heard about this. iPhone XS release date, price, and specs.
Ooh.
We'll talk about this. This is happening like in the real world tomorrow. We'll talk about it on the show next week, Wednesday,
Cool.
12th September. I'm actually really curious to see what the iPhone XR is all about, because sometimes the rumors aren't facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens very often.
That said, I'm not really up for a high-dollar phone that doesn't have a headphone jack, because that's the way I roll. So I recently migrated from my aging iPhone to a Moto G6 because my son needed a phone, and of course I found myself wanting to pull everything off of my old phone. Because backing up your phone in iTunes is not the same as actually having access to the stuff that was on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I manually pulled my photos off over a USB connection because that's just what I do on a fairly regular basis. Otherwise, I find myself with 10,000 photos stashed away on my phone. True story. Literally, I had like 60 gigabytes of photos on my phone.
Oh my gosh.
It was a little out of control. Android.com/switch makes it super easy to use a Google Drive account to get your contacts, your calendar events, your photos to your new phone. And it'll actually deal with notes.
Wow.
But what it does is move the notes to individual Gmail files and then stuffs them in a folder,
Yeah.
which is cool, but I actually wanted to have access to my notes in a way that didn't require me to open up Gmail. So there's an app I've been using on and off for a while to try to do things like you don't want to know. It's called CopyTrans. The website is copytrans.net, and it's a collection of tools to make it easier to manage your phone without using iTunes, Contacts, Photo Manager apps, Shelby, and TuneSwift.
This looks useful.
It is actually really useful. And it's really about making it easier to not use iTunes even if you have an iPhone. And they have an application, which I'm going to show you right here, called Contacts. And the contacts are up here, and the messages are here. And I'm not going to show you either because my wife will kill me if I do. And what it actually did was allow me to I selected all of them, but you can select individual notes, all of the notes, certain notes, and it will export them like to a PDF, or in my case, actually into a collection of HTML files. So I'm not going to show you the HTML files because a lot of them, the titles end up being information that I love you to death, but I'm not sharing with you, like passwords or other things. Or passwords.
You're writing your
children.
passwords down? Mm-mm.
Well, when I was creating a new account for my son, it had to go somewhere. Shelby, their app, backs up and restores your iPhone. CopyTrans will transfer music from your iPhones. It'll update your iTunes. You get the idea. Contacts has a bit of a stately pace, and you might notice it's not the most sophisticated interface here.
It's not the most beautiful thing, but it sounds like it gets the job done.
It got all the notes off of my iPhone and into my laptop so I could search them and get all the information I wanted. For example, like the information that's up here is like I was taking dB levels of a vehicle before I modified the vehicle so I could compare it to the audio, the sound levels after the modifications were done. It's really, really cool. And like I said, Gmail, having all of my notes go from my phone to Gmail under a label called Notes just wasn't going to work for me.
Yeah.
I'm in search of a great note-taking app for Android, if you know of one. Or if all of you know of one, let me know what you use. Email ask@tektthing.com. And if you're looking at...
Google Keep, it's pretty useful.
Because one more aspect of my life should be under Google surveillance. Oh my goodness.
I'm always looking for better ones though.
Speaking of which, if you're looking at CopyTrans Contacts and thinking like, oh God, how could he be using that? Let us know if you have a better tool for managing your iPhone without iTunes, because iTunes continues to get more and more complicated, it seems like each and every week. Email ask@tektthing.com. We will share it with the crew, all of you.
All of you out there.
Thank you.
Every soon.
Jazz hands, which I can't really do. Last week I was down in San Diego at CEDIA Expo, the brand of custom-installed home lifestyle experiences that define a pathway to prosperity for members and the ultimate contentment for clients.
Oh my.
Oh my. So home automation, home theater, audio networking, well, and quite a bit more. CEDIA Expo, it's kind of like a mini CES. To make your home amazing. CEDIA is the Custom Electronics Design and Installation Association. Some folks call it the Installers Show. A lot of it is really inside baseball for the people.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. If you set up homes with automation systems like Control4, Crestron, Savant, Elan, yeah, like which used to be super high end, but now actually is much more affordable than it was in the past. CEDIA, though, thinks of itself as the leading global authority in the $14 billion home technology industry.
Wow.
Yeah, people spend a lot of money.
That's a big industry.
It is a big industry, but as you'll see, it's kind of broad, right?
Yeah.
Because I'll be talking about projectors, televisions, home automation gear, HVAC equipment. There's a lot of stuff that's under. When you think about everything in your home with technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah, and there were some gorgeous things to see. I won't go too in depth here. Robert and I will probably spend an hour plus on AVXL talking about all the shiny home theater and audio stuff. Thank you, avxl.com. But let's hit some highlights. In the wake of IFA, let me say this. You don't need 8K.
Oh.
I don't need 8K. Not for years, if at all. That said, Digital Projection's Insight 8K, a massive 25,000 lumen 8K projector, had the most gorgeous demo video I saw at the show. This was a crazy tour de force of HDR, a shiny paper lantern, like probably 30 by 30 feet. Like the folks moving it below, right? Super bright.
Cool.
The colors are so saturated. You could see the people like manipulating it below and spinning it around. And a $400,000 price tag.
$400,000?
Well, this is the creme de la creme. This is like, this is the ultimate projector for the 8K content that doesn't yet exist. But if you're building a $2 million home theater, maybe you're just rolling in a $400,000 projector.
Let's talk reasonable.
More my speed. Epson's Pro Cinema 4050, not real 4K, but pixel shifting in the 3LCD unit is fast enough you won't care. I couldn't see any issues in terms of, there were no smearing, there were no artifacts. It has DCI color. It's bright, it's gorgeous, and it's $2,400. I have not been thinking about upgrading my projector.
It's not bad.
Or wasn't until I saw this projector.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. I would not have said that before CEDIA. Middle Atlantic's DC power distribution. These colorful boxes are racks of voltage, bricks of 5 volt, 12 volt, 18 volt, 24 volt, up to 3,000 watts total. So no giant collection of wall warts, just put one of these into the rack.
So cool.
Yeah, speakers, so many. Bowers & Wilkins showed off their updated 600 series speakers, new woofer and tweeter, the ports on the back now. Really, really impressive side-by-side demo with the previous generation. ELAC's Vertex series, that's a new on-wall system from ELAC, and Navis, basically, which are not sort of my beloved Unify speakers in a wireless, or I should say a wireless self-powered speaker. It's essentially a brand new speaker, and with a very, very pretty wooden enclosure. The Navis is definitely gunning for Kef's Epic LS50 wireless. Paradigm's new Defiant subwoofers run from 8 to 15-inch models. I love the tower of them. The new Sonos amp looks very nice. The Luxcono smart thermostat was new to me, but it has an excellent rep and is considerably less expensive than a lot of the other smart thermostats. AudioQuest had some gorgeous cable management in their booth. I showed this picture to Shannon, and you were like, look what they did with the Velcro.
I was jealous of the beautiful Velcroing and organizational skills, and I love that they didn't have any of them tugging out. I was like, oh, it's so beautiful.
It's some really nice cable management. And hey, AudioQuest wants you to know they don't just offer pre-terminated cables, they're there for installers too. Yamaha was showing off a new MusicCast Vinyl 500 Wi-Fi turntable, and the surround AI tech built into their latest Avantage AVRs is really interesting. So in theory, it automatically adjusts audio levels on the fly after it analyzes the scene super fast using AI. Rob and I will be playing around with that one because I'm kind of curious to A/B it against a artificially intelligent. The more I get into it, I'm still kind of reading through all of the explanations of what it's doing, but essentially it's trying to compensate for things like, for example, they were showing Rampage, which is Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, doing a video game reboot as a movie, which I'm going to watch because I was a huge fan of Rampage. I played it for years in arcades. And it's got The Rock. I love Dwayne Johnson. And now I can watch Ballers and, Dwayne Johnson getting whacked out of the sky in a helicopter because fun. But it was interesting, like one of the things they were saying is they will do things like, when the monsters are screaming, the explosions are happening, and he's talking on a headset, it might enhance the level of the headset to make it more clear so you can hear his speech.
Cool.
I'm curious, and I'm trying to decide if that's like, is that modifying the intentions of the original sound engineer, or is that a really, really cool idea that'll make it more awesome to watch movies? Let you know after we get a full review on that one. This is kind of just a taste of the show. Yeah. It's not as huge as CES, but there is a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of times you'd be like, wow, look at that mantle mount, because it's, it's hydraulic and it's bringing the television down from above the mantle. It's just, if you want the detailed version of this, the inside baseball version, head over to avxl.com. Rob and I will probably spend 20 or 30 minutes just talking about pixel shifting in 8K alone.
You will.
I will, and I'm not going to do that here because y'all have things to do.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh my goodness. A big thank you to Hack5 for giving us a studio space where we make TekThing. Thank you, Hack5. Check out the Security and Privacy Podcast at hack5.org. Then check out the superior pen testing and USB automation tools over at hack5.org/gear. There's some good stuff there. And remember, once in a while, put down the phone, step away from the screen, close the laptop, and do something analog, like lock yourself inside a cage with a shark.
Or maybe not.
Oh, wait. The sharks were outside the cage.
They were outside the cage.
It is way less exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get to do that, though. I went to the North Shore Shark Adventures on Oahu, Hawaii, with my brother and my sister. There's my brother, his belly. But you can see sharks just hanging out right outside of this cage that we were all inside of. And they got very, very close. Like, we could have reached out and pet them at many occasions.
That's a great way to lose a hand.
It was honestly.
Reaching out and petting them, I mean.
Honestly, I was so scared when we first got in the cage. But then as soon as I went under and I saw the sharks around us, it was so peaceful and it was like magical. Like just,
well, sure.
Like it left me speechless because I was just in awe of these gorgeous creatures around us. And Galapagos sharks they can be very aggressive, but luckily they were quite peaceful and just curious with us there.
Plus they were outside the cage.
They do offer like open swims with sharks too, which you can totally do, and I kind of want to do it.
My wife is a diver, and for her, like the ultimate thing is to go sort of hang in the water with the sharks. I'm a surfer and a sailor, and I think the sharks belong far below on the other side of a large, thick piece of
The most I know how
fiberglass
to do is snorkeling, and I am totally okay with that. I don't think I'll ever dive. No, thank you.
It's all good.
Snorkeling with sharks was really cool. So North Shore Shark Adventures is where we got to do it. And I'm going to put a full video with all of the different shots that we got from the shark cage on my personal YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Shannon Morse. I think that's my link.
Shannon with sharks.
Yes, basically.
Goodness. I'm Adam Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on TekThing. GoPro footage?
Yeah, GoPro footage. Mine is in 30p. It's on the Hero 4 back in the day, but my sister also got a bunch of footage on her newer GoPro, and she was doing 60p. So she got a lot of awesome footage that I'll be able to like slow down and put to music and stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Woo, so cool. We also got to swim with dolphins. That was pretty awesome. Yep.
Were you swimming and the dolphins came up, or was it like Pet the Dolphin adventure?
We were like a mile out from the island, which we totally should have not done that.
It's a great way to end up halfway to the, Marshall Islands.
Right? Exactly. But we were like a mile out or something like that, and we were just chilling and waiting for dolphins to show up because they were known to be in that area.
Got it.
And like 37 of them at least, that's what we counted, came up. Spinner dolphins. It was awesome.
And were they chittering?
Yeah.
You know what they were saying?
They were chittering.
Do you know how many sharks are out here? Come on, go back in. You people, you can barely swim. Come on.
Maybe that's why they were circling us.
That might have been.
The spinner dolphins were just like you could hear them in the GoPro.